Team TJ, hoy tenemos una gran modelo, actriz, cantante y ahora autora, creadora de la línea de ropa T-Boy Chic. La hemos visto en varios proyectos como Kingdom, Capitana Marvel y recientemente dentro de la serie Wandavision. Ella es Lori Livingston.
Yay! Hola, that is about as far as my Spanish goes. Hola.
Hola. Don't worry. That's amazing. Yeah, at least you can see hola.
That's about it.
Thank you so much for being here with us. It's really a pleasure to us to have you in the program.
Thank you for having me. It's so awesome to be here with you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we're ready to start. We're going to start asking you, you're an actress, singer, model, and businesswoman. Which one of these areas caught your attention first?
Actually, I started out as a dancer.
I was a dancer.
Yes. I was a professional dancer for BET. I don't know if you're familiar with Americans BET. So yes. I was on BET as a professional dancer back in like 1999. And it was a TV show. It was like a hip hop show called Planet Groove. And we would go in and we would just dance, and it would just be like all the latest dances. So I started out that way. That was my very first time ever on television. And in that time, I was trying to be a professional singer and a dancer, but the singing career went nowhere. So I ended up actually being a dancer on BET Planet Groove.
Okay. And how do you feel when you get the opportunity to be on television?
Actually, I danced my way through Hollywood. A lot of my initial jobs when I first started out here in Los Angeles, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but a lot of my jobs initially were me dancing. Because I'm actually, I can do all different forms of dancing. I don't keep up with it as much as I used to, but I did a lot of hip hop dancing initially, but salsa, merengue, bachata, like I dance,
Whoa.
So,
wow. Okay.
Now that I can do. I can't speak the language, but I can dance. I can
do. And we can speak, but I can't dance bachata. You have to teach us.
Dance that.
So
when we go to LA, is that where you are right now? You're in LA.
Yes.
We'll go and you could teach us.
Yeah, we can go to a dance club or something like that.
I'll tell you a little secret. A little story. When I started dancing, I would dance and I didn't understand what a lot of the Hispanic men were doing to me. I didn't get it because I'm very tall. So and I would wear dresses to like these little dance places and these guys would always come after me. So I'm thinking, oh, they think I'm cute. Oh, that wasn't it. They would take me because I was so tall because, the man leads in dance and they would spin me around because I would wear these dresses. My dresses would be flared, but my dress would be going up. Oh. And they were, so they were like making me dance and making me spin. So my dress would go up. So if any of you guys are watching, I was that girl and I will come back for you. I will get you. I will get you.
That's amazing. And when you start your career modeling?
Yes. So after my dancing debut on BET, of course, that wasn't paying any money and I had a family already. So I knew it was one of two things. It was like, I wanted to be a professional model. So I started out professionally on QVC. So a lot of people who know me as Lori, they know me there. So everyone thinks my start was as a professional model, when in actuality, it was as a dancer. So my official TV job debut was QVC. And I modeled for them for 8 years. So I was there from the early 2000s until about the first decade of the 2000s. I was there. And I just did everything you possibly could do. I worked all the overnight shifts. I did all the jobs. So I always tell people, especially guys, like, hey, your mom probably knows exactly who I am, or your grandma, or, your aunties, like they all know who I am. And from there, I just kind of segued over to HSN, Home Shopping Network. And there I stayed there for a long time. I stayed at HSN until about 2017. So that was fairly recent years. I recently stopped and I had moved here to LA. But in the course of my modeling career, I went to Paris, France. I lived in France for about 2 years. and I did all the fashion.
It's her dream.
Is it a dream?
Dream.
The funny thing is, I speak French. The funny thing is, I speak French. Je parle français un peu, mais j'entends français beaucoup. Yeah. And everyone's always like, well, French is so similar to Spanish. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't, not in my brain. And I'm trying. I'm really trying, but it just, nope. But France is a beautiful place. If you ever get the chance, go enjoy it for what it is. Don't make it too big. Don't make it too, just enjoy it for what it is. So, but yeah, I lived years.
When I was in high school, and I wish I could have stayed longer. We were only there for like a day or two. And I'm just dying to go back. I want to live there.
Yes. I lived there. And I mean, it was amazing because the people were people just like us, and they had their holidays and their they get up and go to work like we do. But the one thing we need to do is they have like lunch break and then they're done for the day. Like, they're like, okay, I'm going home now. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But it's lunchtime. Like, they're like, that's it, so it's a very intriguing place. I have tons of pictures. I'm looking at my house now. I'm looking at all my pictures on my wall around the place, but I have all my pictures just as my memories. But I worked over there professionally as a professional model. I did Paris Fashion Week. I did New York Fashion Week, Miami Fashion Week, any fashion week you can think of. I was in it. I modeled for people like Iman, supermodel Iman. I modeled for her for years. I modeled for Badgley Mishka, Zhang Toy, all of them. Valentino. I modeled for just every major name you could think. I am a professional model.
Oh my gosh! And talking about modeling, what does it mean for you? Like, what does that place in your heart? What does it mean for you?
Modeling is always going to have a big place in my heart because it was my big break. It was my first professional career, and like, as far as where it went places, and I did everything I said I was going to do. I understand it. I get it. And honestly, believe it or not, being a dancer helped me as a model.
Yeah.
So, and you may have heard that before where they say, like, if you have that ability to move in your photo shoots, that when you're dancing, you're telling a story with your body, especially professional dancers. When you see the female and the male, they're telling stories with their bodies. It's the same thing as a model. When you're doing those photo shoots, you're not just standing there blankly, just like, I'm pretty, I'm fierce. I mean, that's boring. You are literally evoking a story, and I don't think people understand it. I know I'm like super dramatic about it, but like, I don't think people understand the depths of what a real good model is. So I think that's why we have our favorites. Like, there may be a model you'll see, you're like, oh my gosh, she's awesome. And then you'll see another model, you're like, eh. It's because that one that you like is telling you a story. Whenever she puts that outfit on, she's telling a story. So each outfit that I would wear, I became that person. In my mind, I had to become that person. So I didn't realize even then I was training myself as an actor the whole time.
Of course.
I had no idea.
I always say that all arts are connected in some way, like acting, dancing, modeling, everything, because everything helps the other thing. It's like, right. No.
Yeah, that's right. See. Oh wait, there's 2 words. Okay, so hola, see. I'm good.
Yeah.
I can put it.
You're getting there.
You're getting there. Like, give me about another 10 years, I'll have a whole set.
Yeah, and like you say, it's really hard, and because we're singers. And yesterday, actually, a photographer said like, "Hey, let me take you pictures," and I was like, "Okay, but I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm always when I'm taking pictures." It's like, it's really hard to get to the point that you can tell that story or do something, because I'm like, how they do that? I can't do that.
So how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
That's one thing to think about. So like, when you're taking a picture, how do I feel especially if as an artist, if you're, for that specific song, how does the song make me feel? So if you feel emotional in that song, then you bring yourself into that place of emotion, and don't worry about the cameras. Cause I think that's where people fall apart. They see, oh, the camera's on me. Okay. And then they stiffen up and they're just like, is this right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to tune out the cameras. And that's not only as an actor, it's not only as a model or in photograph, but that's in acting as well. You're literally ignoring the camera that is right here, sometimes in your face, you're completely blocking it out to convey what you're feeling. So in a way, that's acting and modeling 101.
I have no idea how I could be an actor on TV, because I'd probably laugh and look at the camera a million times.
And then, especially in comedy, I tend to do a lot more comedy, which you guys haven't seen yet. You haven't seen me do that yet. But when I started doing comedy sketches and comedic, I'm not a comedian, but like comedic type stuff. And you know what it is? I thought the same thing. I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do these scenes, because I've been with some big names in Hollywood that are hilarious, and you're like, how do they not laugh? How do they, what happens is you start to believe like, okay, I need a scene to work. So you're willing to I'm not going to laugh just because I want this scene to work. You know what I mean? So that's one of the key ways to help you to not break, to, okay, I want this to come across hilarious. So I sacrifice laughing now in that moment after. So trust me, it's a lot of concentration. It can happen. If you do it, you can do it. It can happen.
You're getting a little frozen.
It's cutting off.
What has been your biggest challenge in your modeling career?
My age. I was actually older than most models. So I had to pretend to be a lot younger than I really was. A lot of models start super young. Did I lose you guys?
No.
Okay. A lot of models start super young, and I didn't start young. I started at about 25 years old. So that's like grandma to a lot of my agencies, a lot of most people. And I was basically modeling well into my 30s, but pretending to be in my 20s for most of my modeling career. And it was painful for me because I'm clearly an adult, I'm really a woman, but I was surrounded by children all the time. So that was my biggest challenge as a model.
Okay, so next question. How did your clothing line, T-Boy Chic, come about?
The clothing line T-Boy Chic is it's me. So basically, as a professional model, I was always the tomboy. I was always the girl that was a little rough around the edges. Like a lot of the models were very prissy and pretty, and and they cared about their nails, and I could care less about that. Put the outfit on me, I'll be fierce. Just let me loose on the runway, and I'm gone. But I was always very tomboyish. That's just where I come from. The women were just very rough a little bit. So that was nothing new for me, but it was weird in the fashion industry. And a lot of the designers, they liked it because they liked the edge, and that sassiness. But a lot of the people also didn't understand it because they were like, well, we need you to be a little bit more girly. And I'm like, but that's not me. Like, I don't want to be that. So I kind of coined this name for myself to explain to a lot of these models and even designers that I was a tomboy, but I was very much a woman. So it came out to Tomboy Chic. And literally, I started around 2013, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And it's been kind of growing ever since. So now I still have it. It's still very prominent. A lot of people have purchased a lot of items. I'm currently refurbishing it now. I'm starting it over again because I want to add some more things to it, like athletic wear and everything. But the whole line is basically, it embodies me. I'm a girl, I'm a girly girl, but I have that tomboy tough edge to me. So a lot of my clothes, I want that to convey that. And a lot of people get it. I'm shocked at how many people actually get it and appreciate it. So it's been doing very well.
Perfect. It's T-boy or?
Yes, it's an abbreviation for tomboy. Okay. So it's tomboy chic, but I just abbreviated to T-boy chic, and we may even be abbreviating it more and taking it down just to kind of keep it more current with the trends of today. So we may be changing the name one more time, but the basis of it is to say tomboy chic.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
You basically answered the other two questions we've had about this.
Oh, no.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so you just released a children's book called But Beauty Wasn't With Me.
Yes, my children's book, yes.
What brought you to write this story?
Again, based on me. I'm kind of touching on so many things without really going into depth, but my childhood was very rough. I had a very kind of abusive childhood. So I wanted to share this story as I was growing up as a professional model, to have been so abused as a kid and then suddenly become this model where I'm accepted and I'm embraced, and who I was and what I looked like was actually accepted, versus the way I grew up, where I was kind of taunted and picked on, and I was the tall, lanky, skinny girl that the guys didn't want. And I was, girls would pick on me because I was so skinny, and, you don't have a big chest, you don't have a big butt type of deal. Just things that I went through growing up as a child. One day as a professional model, I wanted to write that. So actually the book, I wrote it 8 years ago. In the heart of my modeling career, around the same time of T-Boy Chic's introduction. I came up with the book as well, but the book was actually a poem that I wrote about myself. And I remember reading it to a lot of my model friends at the time, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And I was like, yeah, okay. And I didn't take it too seriously when they were saying it. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. And I decided, you know what, maybe I need to make this a book. So a friend of mine, you can see on the cover of the book, Tyrone Peter, he and I just kind of held ourselves up in his apartment for like 1 week. Maybe about 5 years, 7 years ago, we held ourselves up in his apartment for 1 week, and we just wrote the book. We basically took the poem and made it into a book and literally illustrated each and every picture. So that cover picture, I actually drew that myself. Now, I am not an artist. I will not say that. But I was trying to explain to the illustrator, this is what I want to look like. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's kind of good." So he did fine tune and tweak and touch up what I did. But I actually drew that front cover which is me when I was 7 years old. So that was actual, and it was based off of an actual picture of me at 7 years old. And the story is pretty much in a childhood setting. It's like my autobiography in a sense, but just in a children's book, in a very short children's book.
That's amazing. How you went from all of that to put
it into
something
amazing,
creative and amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the book is doing amazing. And I had no idea, because it's not just for girls, it's for boys, it's for men. Like I was floored, like literally blown away by men and women who got the book and approached me and said to me, that's me. That was me when I was growing up, or I went through the same thing. And, this book, I mean, like in tears, and it kind of shocked me, initially, like, wow. Cause when you go through stuff in your life, you're like, okay, I went through that, and you just kind of keep going. But when I wrote this book, I thought it was just going to be for children. I figured, kids will get it. It'll be colorful and cute and funny, but I never expected the adults who actually appreciate it as well. I never expected that. And that's been the biggest heart-warming situation for me.
It's because that's the beautiful thing about the arts, because you can relate with all the stories, like a song, a book, anything. You can relate to that.
And sometimes what something means for you can mean something totally different to somebody else, but they relate to that.
Yes. And that's the part that I love. This book has gone around the world. It's in Japan. It's in Europe, a couple places in Europe. I mean, like I'm just humbled by the fact that this book has had the success that it's had.
Yeah, I actually looked for it on Amazon.
Yes.
Like, wow. And I was reading the reviews, and all the reviews are like, wow, this book is amazing.
Aww.
5 stars. And I was like, oh, I want to get it.
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I think it's relatable. And I know growing up for myself, I didn't see a lot of, black and brown, faces or images on books. Like a lot of the books, the characters didn't look like me. They didn't look like us. They looked like, white people, blonde hair, blue eyes, and I couldn't relate. Now, I like to read. I enjoyed the book, but I wanted to see images of myself. So that's what I hope that this book helps for Black and brown, because, I just want people to see themselves, and that's why her face looks so disgruntled on the cover. She's not happy and bright and shining on the cover. She's a real person who was really going through some heartache. So I want children to be able to understand that, and apparently adults too. So I appreciate the success that it has.
I love that. We need more representation.
Yes.
I remember when Black Panther came out, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so amazing for all those little Black children out there who are getting a superhero movie. And
exactly.
The Little Mermaid with
Holly, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's amazing. And I grew up always wanting to have somebody that looked like me. I mean, the most that I had a brown character was Jasmine and Pocahontas.
Yes. Exactly.
Because like there's white princesses, but where are the brown ones?
Exactly. And the ones we can be proud of, the one that we want to see images. I don't care who you are, Black, Latino, like Latino. We want to see ourselves in a beautiful light, in a beautiful way. We want something to look up to. Children need to look up to, so I certainly hope that my book can be that. It's definitely, I actually want to, I know this is a complete contradiction, but I want to put the book in Spanish. I want to actually translate my book into Spanish. So I have some friends that I've been speaking to because I want to translate it so that it can be in other cultures as well, not just in Americans. Yes. So I definitely won't be me speaking Spanish because I would definitely butcher that. That would not be an idea, but I would get professional help to make sure that it's properly done, because I would love for everyone to be able to enjoy it no matter what their language is.
That would be amazing.
So what was the most difficult thing about creating this book?
Getting it published. It was a lot of people that amazingly, and what was funny about it was it was a children's book. Like the book wasn't even for the people who were giving me the hardest time. And I would have like these grown men or these grown women, who were just very like well, I mean, like, it doesn't make sense. The book doesn't make sense. And I'm thinking, well, the book, the book is for a child, the children aren't going to look at these books. They're not going to be so analytical about it. Like, well, that girl had that color on in the last page, so I definitely can't read this. And I mean, are you kidding me? That just wasn't happening. Children wanted to see stories of themselves. So the hardest part for me was definitely getting past the adults who, had their opinions and they didn't understand, I guess, where I was going. And I mean, these were like people that were in their 60s and 70s. Well, I don't get it. I'm like, it's not for you, dude. The book's for kids. Trust me. It's been a long time for you, but it's for the kids, So it was rough. That was rough. That was very rough. Just to get past the naysayers. So, but now once I had the success, a lot of them were like, "Oh my God, it was great." I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah." Too
exactly.
late.
Exactly. So now they're all over the book. Yeah, we want to see it. Read it to my kids. Great.
So I know we're moving a little fast with the questions here, but it's because you had so many things to talk about that it was really hard to come up with questions and to fit all of them into 1 hour.
So we're trying like, okay, let's talk about a little modeling, a little of acting, a little of your book, and trying to get all of that in 1 hour interview. So
no,
we're
take
like,
your time. Rush.
okay.
No rush. However time you need.
On to the acting now.
We know that you work for a little in stunts.
Oh yeah.
What brought you to this?
So being a tomboy chic. Like my whole life, if you really look at it, it all ties in together. The book, the clothing line, like it literally, they all connect. The modeling, everything all makes sense. And it's like one big giant puzzle that connects all together. But when I came to Hollywood, I had short hair. And I cut my hair as a professional model because all the models had this long, gorgeous hair, and we all looked exactly the same. So there would be girls that would like, there were girls that weren't even the same nationality as I was, but we looked identical to each other as models. You know, so I wanted to make my own individuality. So I cut my hair short as a model, and it worked brilliantly as a model. It was like, oh, this is brilliant. You know, we love it. But when I segued over into being an actress, I don't think Hollywood got it as much. And even though someone as beautiful as Halle Berry basically made short hair like the staple for women in general, she made it sexy. Most of Hollywood didn't look at a woman with short hair the way they did Halle Berry. You know, a lot of times they would look at you as, you know, and this is nothing against anyone who is a lesbian or gay or homosexual or anything, but they would just assume you're homosexual. You know, and it was just the assumption, and I was not. So I didn't want that to be my message necessarily, because that wasn't who I was. I have nothing against it, but it just wasn't who I was. So I noticed that a lot of the roles that I was getting were very lesbian roles, detective, doctor, you know, just very hard, you know, she just had no warmth to her, you know, and it was like Hollywood just did not see me as sexy or girly or just pretty in any way, which was odd. So I basically just started to try to get their attention in another way. And what I started doing was I started doing a lot of these fight scenes and these stunts. And I was trained by a man. He's from Germany. His name is Phil Flock. And he does infant cinema. So if you kind of look up online, actually on YouTube, you can see some of his videos. He does a lot of stunts. I mean, like he literally does his own stunts, but he trained me how to do them myself. Cause I told him, I want Hollywood to see me as an assassin. I want them to see me as sexy and, you know, and all these things. Cause they're not getting it. Help me, dude, help me. And he did.
Black Widow.
And he did. Oh yeah. He made me an assassin in one of his movies called Room 325, and it was comedic. It was funny. But it was serious. I did actually fight all four of these guys, and they were real fight sequences. But it helped me to have to show that to Hollywood and say, "Hey, I'm not just this girl that's just kind of sitting here. I can do these things as well," which is stunts. And that's how a big name came to find me, was because of stunts.
That's amazing. I always admire the work of the stunts. I'm like, how I don't know how they do that, how they risk their life doing that kind of stuff. A lot of dangerous stuff. And I'm like, well, that's so crazy, but that's cool.
It's painful too. Like when you feel like every shot, like I couldn't walk for like a day or two, you know. It was like just my body was just felt so stiff because you literally use muscles you don't even know you have, you know. In many cases you're like, I didn't even know there was a muscle there, like what is this, you know. So but I always wanted to be able to keep up with what the guys could do, but as a female I always wanted to be able to do that, and I think I proved my point, definitely. But I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff.
So moving on into something that I'm sure a lot of people would be really excited to hear about. How did you get into the MCU?
The MCU. Marvel. So it was actually 4 years ago, 2018. I was trying to introduce, like I said, my stunt work to Hollywood to let them know, hey, I can kick butt too. And basically they saw it. Marvel saw it. They saw one of my videos and they asked me to be one of the Skrulls for Captain Marvel. So I'm actually in the movie Captain Marvel. And I shot as 3 different creatures. So I played the Skrull, which were the original Skrulls. And this was the first time that the Skrulls were brought from the comic books. If you're into the comic books, Captain Marvel was the first time the Skrulls were ever brought to the big screen. So I'm one of the original Skrulls. You know, I literally made Hollywood history by being the first and the only African-American female Skrull, original Skrull. So I made Hollywood history just by being in Captain Marvel. And I played a Torfin in that movie, and I played a lower class Hala. So if you see the movie Captain Marvel, you actually see me multiple times in that movie and don't even know it. But there's a scene. You got to watch it again. So the first 10 minutes of the movie, Jude Law and Brie Larson are in the tunnel. They're like in a subway or something. It's literally within the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. And they're in like this little subway, and I'm standing right behind Brie Larson, and I'm giving her like a dirty look, because technically we were the lower class people and they were the upper class people, and they were in our territory or in our area. And we were just kind of like supposed to be like, hey, why are you here? So I remember the director telling me, kind of give her a dirty look, like, what are you doing here type of deal. So if you go watch the movie, you will actually see my face as a character there, as a lowercase Hala, lower class Hala. So that was a creature, but they look human, but they just had deformities on their faces. So I was definitely one of them, and you can see me right there. But also in the end, with the king, Talos, and I believe that was his name. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on their name, but the king and the queen, when they brought them into that hidden area, I was one of those Skrulls that were hiding. So I was one of the parents. So Marvel came around then, and it was something I knew I needed to do. I remember everyone telling me, oh, you're too pretty. You're so pretty. You can't put that Skrull mask on, and you can't do that. And I'm like, who cares? It's Marvel. It's Marvel. Like, seriously, who is seriously going to say, no, I think I'll pass. Like, who's going to tell Marvel no? So I definitely did not down. And fast forward to the pandemic, to 2020, last August, as a matter of fact, I got a call from that same company, and they were saying, it wasn't Marvel specifically, but it was the same company who hired me for Captain Marvel. And they were just like, hey, would you be interested in reprising your character? Would you be interested in redoing this? And I was like, absolutely not. No, I literally said no. I know. I said no. And they were just like, okay, we just wanted to ask, see if you might be interested. And then I kind of thought about it. I was like, dude, this is Marvel. Like, are you kidding? Wait, hello. So like within 2 days, I contacted them back and was auditioning for the role. And of course, I didn't know what the role was. I didn't know how big it was going to be. I just knew, it was Marvel. And I got the role. I got the part within a month. I got the part, and we were shooting it, or like last fall sometime we were shooting it. So, it turned out to be a bigger deal than I expected. But I knew it was going to be pretty big at the time. I just didn't know how big it was going to be. So, they brought back the Skrull. I am officially the Skrull agent.
and before you became a part of Marvel, were you already aware of all these stories, the movies?
Oh my God, are you kidding? I am like the biggest Marvel fan. So like totally geeked out. I was geeked. Like I was literally like a kid in a candy store. Like, oh my God. Like I knew all the characters. I knew everybody. I have brothers. So my brothers were into all the Marvel, all that, so I would watch it with them. I was very much heavily into it. And actually what dreams do come true. Let's just say this. When I saw X-Men a couple years back, X-Men had a character, Mystique, the original Mystique. And think about it. She was a professional model who was Rebecca Romaine Stamos. And she was a professional model. So that got my attention on many levels, because I was a model, and then I'm watching her kick butt, and I'm watching her be an actor. And I'm like, I can do that, but I was like blown away by her, what she did. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be painted. I didn't care what they painted me. I wanted to be painted head to toe. Exactly whatever it was that I just saw Mystique do. I want to be that. And fast forward, dreams do come true. I end up being green.
Wow, that's
In the
really,
MCU,
really
I'm
a
green.
dream.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's surreal. I still pinch myself sometimes, I still look at it like, wow, I cannot believe, this has happened, but it's happened, and all I can say is if you have a dream in your heart to be something, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're not good enough or you got this or you got that. Like, you have to believe in yourself beyond what others are going to say, because they're going to say, they're going to speak from where they think, but it doesn't mean it's true. So, to your listeners, never give up, because I didn't have all the right things in line. Like a lot of actors, they kind of, it's like their life is just kind of, is seemingly perfect. And they just kind of next thing boom, superstar. It wasn't like that for me. It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of no. It was a lot of rejection. It was a lot of disappointments. And it was a lot of taking jobs that I normally wouldn't want to do. Let's just be honest. My initial job for Marvel, I didn't want to initially, you don't really want to be in Hollywood as these ugly, hideous creatures. You want to be the pretty girl and you want to be the one, and sometimes you're going to have to take some, not without, you don't lose your dignity. You never lose your dignity, but sometimes you will have to take jobs that, no one else is willing to do. And if I hadn't done that, I don't believe I would be sitting here as the Skrull agent for Marvel. If I didn't take some of those jobs.
There is no such thing like small characters.
Yes, exactly. And that's where people mess up. Everybody wants to be the star immediately. Well, sometimes you got to be the little guy. Sometimes you have to do the little job. Sometimes you have to do the, just the kind of more in the back. But so one thing about Hollywood, you never know who's watching. Yeah. You never know who's paying attention, and someone could be watching you, So you do your best, you do the hard work, you do what you got to do, and someone will eventually see you. And that was the case here, where Marvel was looking for me. Marvel came looking for me. I had no idea. I was in the pandemic like the rest of us, I'm surviving, trying to avoid getting COVID like everybody else, but here comes Marvel looking for me to do something that they noticed somehow. I don't know. I don't know all the details, but somehow someone saw me, and here I am today. So I am here to encourage anyone to say it is possible. If you have a dream, never give up on that. Never give up.
We know that you can say anything because we know Marvel, but we fans, we know that your character is going to be great in Captain Marvel 2. We know that
something's coming.
Yeah, something is coming big. And not only in Captain Marvel, I think in a lot of other series and movies, because they're doing big stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With everything they're doing.
With the Skrulls, like it's just
the beginning, yes. And we're waiting just to see what's happening, what's gonna happen.
We need more.
So it's going to be really, really amazing.
Well, I just, you don't know. We as the actors, we typically don't know anything. So a lot of times when we do interviews and they're like, so what's next? We're like, yeah, we don't know. Yeah. So they don't tell us everything, and rightfully so, because you want to keep the integrity of what's going on in Marvel. You want it to still be fun, and you want people to enjoy what it is that Marvel's trying to do. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. Yes.
So talking about being a green character, how long was the prosthetics process?
This is always the best part. I love to share this part because people never believe it, but it was actually 5 hours.
5 hours.
I believe that.
Every day, 5 hours. So it's actually several pieces. It's not one big mask that they put on your face, just kind of slide it over your head. It's not like that. It's actually a bald cap that they put on your head. So they do the head piece, then they kind of do the eyes, and then they kind of do the nose and the lip, the bottom jaw. And then they do the neck, the neck and chest area, and the ears. So basically they patch it all together to make it look like one big piece, but it's literally a process that you have to put on every single day, a brand new face. So it's not like, okay, that same face that I had, yesterday, I'm going to just put it back on and do it again today. No, it doesn't work like that. Every day is a brand new face. And then at night when we're done, we tear it all down, take it all apart, tear it all down, and clean your face back off. But it's definitely a 5-hour long process, very detailed. These makeup artists and just people that work in the industry for this, they are incredibly talented people. They are literally creating our faces and just doing a magnificent job in the painting and the detail work that they do to make us look authentic and real and, creepy and all those things that we look like. So, it's a long process.
We actually had the opportunity to talk to Kenneth Coleman, who was in charge of doing the Drax prosthetics for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And yeah.
They said one time they were there for like a whole day, right? Like something like that. Yeah.
That sounds about right. It's a long, and honestly, the more you do it, because I remember specifically with Captain Marvel, we shot that for a year straight, one solid year of being in the prosthetics. And it got to the point, like I would come in and I would go to sleep and I'd wake up as this Skrull, like, yeah. Oh my God. Oh goodness. Like I would see my face, for the first, but it would be hours that passed. But like they had done it so much and we'd become like a rhythm, like a team that it became less time to get it done. So, on average, it's about 5 hours to get done. But the more you do it, especially if it's like systematically every day, it could be as short as maybe 3 hours. You can cut it down to maybe 3 hours. So, but it's definitely a lot of.
I know. I would.
It's a lot. Really, you wouldn't try it?
I'm obsessed.
She loves SFX.
I am obsessed.
Oh,
yeah. I honestly wouldn't mind being an ugly creature. Like, I think it's amazing.
Thank you. A girl.
I'm obsessed with scary movies too, so I'm always like, I want to be the one that dies because, like, I like all the blood and stuff. I'm like, I want to be the one that dies.
Well, do know this. The blood, like if they put the blood in your mouth, like if they have blood in your mouth, that's edible blood. Yeah, that's edible blood. And if it's on like your body parts, you better not put that in your mouth. So yeah, the blood gets a little interesting, but it does look like real blood, like even when we're standing there on set and when they do like bullet wounds. I've done other TV shows too in Hollywood, like Grey's Anatomy. I was on that show for several years. And another show, Code Black, I did a show where they did like this massive scene of everybody getting in a car accident, and they painted basically like, if you were in an accident, if you got damaged, or hurt somehow, they painted on your face all this blood. And like, this looks so real. It looks so authentic. They're really good at what they do here in Hollywood. So if you ever get the chance, please, by all means, try it. Like a true, authentic, person like that can do special effects. Try it. It will change your life.
You were part of the movie Bright with Will Smith, right?
Yes. Oh my God, you guys did your homework. Yes.
What we do.
You guys are amazing. Wow. Y'all need to be on E! Entertainment here in Hollywood. Yes, I did. I did Bright because of Will Smith, because I'm a huge Will Smith fan, and I did the movie strictly because he was in it. I did play an orc, and an orc was one of the creatures that he worked alongside of. So they had infiltrated the earth, as you know, in that movie. I don't want to give everything away for people who didn't see it, but that movie wasn't as dynamic of the prosthetics. Like that was literally a mask. Like they literally just kind of painted our faces around the eyes, around the mouth, certain parts, painted our hands. And then they just slipped this mask on our face. Just kind of was like, okay, no, so that wasn't as exciting in my opinion, but it definitely was still a lot of work. You still have, they were very good quality prosthetics. Don't get me wrong. Like this stuff feels like skin, a lot of these prosthetics, they feel very, very real the way they make it. So, but Bright was that was actually my very first prosthetic experience. So once you have that experience in Hollywood, they tend to like to keep people around who have done it before, because some people get claustrophobic in that, because your skin is not breathing in there. you know, like you are under layers of makeup and glue and things like that to keep
it's hard. I actually had the experience because I take a class of makeup, and they make us put I don't know
how you say that in English.
Yeah, era yeso, no,
yeso, pero I don't know how to
yeah,
say
that
in
thing
English.
that they put on you
to make
a model of your face, but you have to be all covered and
a mold.
Mold. And they put
two little straws
on the nose. And I was like,
that's not enough.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, for 20-30 minutes, I was like that. But I mean, I get used to it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I just closed my eyes, and I was like,
freaked out.
Oh yeah, but a lot of people do freak out. A lot of people, you know, they feel like they're in a coffin, you know, or like they're suffocating, and you're not really dying. I mean, your body is, of course, there, but just your face is smothered in a sense, you know, because the holes a lot of times aren't as big as they need to be, so you have to expand them and do things to kind of make sure you have that air. But it's you definitely have to have experience with it. I wouldn't recommend somebody be brand new and jump into something like this. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. Definitely practice with it, you know, get some experience under your belt so that you're not freaking out, because you can be in these like your friend said, or the person you interviewed, you can do this for like 16, 17 hours or more in those prosthetics for 17 hours straight. Like there's no taking it off. If you think having the mask on your face is annoying, imagine having, you know, your whole head and your whole face covered for like a whole day. You know, it can be exhausting. It can, but you build up a mental toughness, and you just become used to it, and that's what makes you professional, you know. And you also take care of, yes, and then you care for yourself.
Not again.
Leave your skin alone for at least like a few days, because your skin is like traumatized. Like, oh my God, what just happened? So yeah, definitely take a spa day or two, you know, to you know, just kind of replenish your skin, because you're gonna need it. You're definitely gonna need it.
And before we move on the last question, did you have the opportunity to talk with Bree, Jude? Sorry.
Vaguely, just a little bit. Mostly my scenes at that time, Bree was there with the scene with the little kid, which was not a kid. That was a very grown adult woman who was in her 40s, but she played the kid that played the pong. Yeah, she's an adult. She has a child. She has a daughter. Her name is Karen May. She's a sweetheart. She was the ping pong, playing at the machine, the pinball machine with Bree. So that was the only time. There weren't too many scenes that I was with her as far as the Skrull, but I had quite a few scenes with Samuel Jackson.
Oh,
so and was actually the one rescuing us in this particular scene, and this scene was actually cut out of Captain Marvel. But Samuel Jackson basically came in with a gun because we were running from being attacked, and we were jumping into the spaceship or the craft. And as we were getting in there, he said to me, who knows how to shoot this thing? And he hands me the gun, and I say, I do. And I take the gun, and I'm holding the gun in the scene, basically. Now, you never saw that because they cut it out. They cut it out of the movie. But that was something that actually happened on the set. So I did work most of the time was with, which would be Monica Rambeau's mother, Maria Rambeau. And what's his name? I'm sorry, Samuel Jackson. And with Samuel Jackson. So a lot of my scenes as a Skrull, because we were being rescued, was with those two.
We're like really excited because we're really, really fans of Marvel. And and we just have like two experiences. One was with Karen Gillian.
Nice.
because we got invited to the People Choice Awards. People Choice Awards. And we had the opportunity to talk a little with Karen and take a picture. She's amazing. And
that's so nice.
We didn't take a picture. It's really my dream because I love Robert Downey Jr. But he was there and we were like, I don't know, like 2 feet apart, or I don't know. And I was like,
right there.
Yeah, and now we have the opportunity to be talking with you, and for us, it's
so
really
awesome.
amazing.
It's like you're getting all the little Marvel pieces one by one. Like you guys collect all the Marvel pieces. It's so awesome. Yeah, most people who work for Marvel are pretty cool. You have to have this type of imagination, because we're toys. If you really look at it, we're human living. I say we're human living, breathing toys. And we're able to play these characters that we used to play with as children. We're now able to be them and play them. So, I mean, this is an extraordinary experience that I'll never forget. And I made Marvel history in the process. So this is a big deal for me. And I understand the deal for you as well. I understand. I understand why.
Time to be alive, to see all of this happen.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Honestly, wow.
Yes, because I mean, like, imagine having to explain this to like the next generation. I don't think they'll get it. Who knows where Marvel's going here, but I don't think they'll get it. Like, this is such an exciting time, and of course, live streaming. Marvel has just revolutionized the way we watch TV. So now we've literally just expanded into a whole new. I mean, it's endless where any one of us can end up. It's endless. You just never know.
So what advice would you give to those who want to start a career in the arts, modeling, acting, singing, dancing, whatever it might be?
I would definitely say believe in your craft. Believe in what it is that you do. Don't fall into the pitfall of, I got to be like this person, or I got to be like that person, or, well, they're doing it like this, so I need to do it. No, be original, be you, and stand by it. Because people are going to tell you no. People are going to tell you you're not talented, you can't sing, you can't dance, whatever it is. They're going to say absolutely not. But you have to know in your heart, no matter what they say, I have something to offer, and I'm going to stand by what I have to offer. And I think people only see the success that we do as actors, as whatever we are. They only see the outcome, which is the success, but they do not see all of the hard work, all of the years, all of the no's, all of the disappointments, all of the crushing, decision making they don't see all that. And we tend to do that too. We get on TV and we're just like, yeah, I'm great, and I got this part, and I'm on TV, and I'm wonderful, and look at me, and it's easy. And that's a lie. It's a lie. It's not easy. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard at times, but that means you keep working at it. That means you keep trying. That means you keep practicing. That means you keep doing whatever it is you need to do to make yourself better and to be ready for when it does happen for you. I'll give an example. In auditions, a lot of people think, well, I auditioned for this part, but I didn't get the part. Okay, you may not have gotten that part, but you were seen by that casting director. They see you. They know who you are now. You got that chance to do something in front of these people who otherwise wouldn't know you. So don't look at, just because you didn't get it, don't look at it like, oh, I'm a failure. No, like, you still made it in front of these casting directors. You still made it, in that modeling room. You still made it in front of that singer, or that director, or whatever, whatever it is your field is. So don't beat yourself up because you're not going to hear a lot of yeses immediately. You may not, but you keep practicing. You keep doing what it is to do and making yourself better. And honestly, leave your friends behind. You're going to have to let some of those friends go, because a lot of your friends are not thinking really the same. Yeah. A lot of your friends are not in the same mindset where you are. So don't be surprised if you start losing some friends too for where you're going, because it happens. But you just keep working at what you're trying to do. You have to believe in you first before the rest of them will believe in you. You have to. You have to believe you deserve it. You have to believe you belong there. So that's my best advice to everyone.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Well,
you heard? Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yes, we heard it. Well, Lori, we're really sorry about all these technical difficulties, but we want to thank you so much for accepting the interview, for being here with us, for talking to us about your career. And we look forward to hopefully meeting you in LA soon and playing some games, cooking with you. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you for having me. You two are wonderful, and I appreciate it. And continued success to everything that you're trying to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Entre estrellas.